can see, we're going to be looking over the, I guess, the first week NBA power rankings. See where teams have fallen since their sort of pre-season power rankings, or even before even then, power rankings, and seeing if teams have gotten better, gotten worse in the eyes of sort of professional writers. So, but before we get into that, as you guys know, I posted literally, I think I literally posted at least every single day last month of December, which, by the way, Happy New Year's. I definitely forgot to tell you guys in my past video. I talked a lot about my 5K sort of run on YouTube, 5K subscriber run on YouTube, and posted a video about some of the biggest disappointments of this current NBA season. I really want to thank you guys so much for the support I had all of last December, posting every day. I don't know if I'll do that continuing on YouTube. I think until I really start feeling very fatigued, I might stop. I've already, been losing a lot of sleep, not really doing a lot of other things besides YouTube and my other 9-to-5 job. So once that starts getting a little bit out of hand, I love YouTube. YouTube is my passion. I love YouTube. It's my number one hobby right now, even over basketball. But unless that gets a little bit too much for me, then I'll start taking more days off. It's just whenever I feel like I'll post. Will it be every day? Who knows? It can be. I don't know. I just don't want to do like a set schedule, because then that feels more like I have to do it, and I never want to feel like I have to do YouTube. I always want to do YouTube for the joy of it, for the entertainment of it, for you guys, not because it's a set schedule and I have to do it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe. We are now on the road to 10K subs. Maybe we can do that by the end of this upcoming year. It's January 1st. Set a goal for yourself. My goal, 10K, maybe even more than that. Who knows? But I guess we can just get started off with a banger of a video talking about the NBA power rankings. Alright, well, starting off with the NBA power rankings, I'm going to go through these kind of quick. As you know, there are 30 NBA teams. I can't talk about all 30 teams for that long. So, coming on with number 30, we have the Detroit Pistons as the last NBA team actually ranked on here, which, do I think the Detroit Pistons are the last ranking team in the NBA, ranked 30? Man, they are a bad team, but I don't think they're in the worst. Well, actually, dang, maybe they are. Dang, yeah, actually, I do think they're probably in the worst position in the NBA. Like, they're too good because they have Blake Griffin and other players to be very bad, and they're not doing anything to change that. They're not getting good draft picks, valuable draft picks, trading away players who are valuable for better sort of assets. They're just doing nothing, and it's just such a weird purgatory that they end that I don't think they're going to be able to get out anytime soon. So I think Detroit's actually in the worst case scenario for any NBA team right now. So I do believe they probably are last, in my opinion. 29, we have the Chicago Bulls at 29. Wow. That I don't believe. That I do not believe at all. I love the Chicago Bulls. I think they're bad. I think they're not there yet. I think they're still super duper young. They really don't have any sort of veteran leadership to help them out at all. I mean, like, their vet is like Zach LaVine. Like, Zach LaVine as your vet is just not right. I think they should start adding more veteran leadership to that team to sort of start meshing that team isn't like super duper terrible, and the way they've been playing, they've actually been playing very hard. Like they are trying to win. Like Sexton's looking really good, surprisingly. Same thing with Drummond. Drummond's averaging like probably like 20 rebounds a game or something crazy like that. But he's looking really good. So I think the Cavs should actually be higher up on this list, at least in my opinion. Maybe at least above 25. I think that'd be a good spot for them, above 25. At 25, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think before, actually, you know, that team even without Ja Morant is going to do just fine. Well, actually, they don't even have Jaren Jackson Jr. anymore, so they don't have Ja or Jaren. I don't think if they don't have Ja or Jaren, I think that team is going to decline very fast, and that is very sad. But I think Jaren should be come back anytime soon. Should be coming back sometime soon, and then Ja, I think he said like 8 to 10 weeks, something like that. And he's not gonna be out for the whole year. Don't get me wrong. So, nothing to be super scared about, but he's gonna be gone for like 2 months ish, maybe even longer if you want to be careful. So, the season isn't over for them, but they need Jaren back. They need one of them back to sort of take over that team. And at number 24, wow, they have the Oklahoma City Thunder at 24. If I can be completely honest, this team actually plays pretty hard. At least in my opinion, they're actually looking like not a total like mess of a team that I thought they were going to be. They actually are looking not so bad. They are 1-3, but so are, you know, Denver, Dallas, Houston, Memphis. So they're in a bunch of grouped teams that are also doing bad. So compared to those teams, they're actually not doing so bad, I guess. I definitely do think that maybe they'll be better than we think they are. I mean, they're just a group of hard-working guys who want to prove themselves, and that's terrifying in the NBA. Like, hard-working players who have really good athleticism, good defenders as well. Like, that team is actually not as bad. At least, in my opinion, I'm saying, like, I really messed up evaluating this team. Should they be higher than, like, the Cavs or some other teams? I mean, maybe not, in my opinion. Maybe once the season starts going down, and further down into the year, maybe. But as of right now, I would rank the Cavs over them. I would rank maybe Memphis over them if they can get Jaren back, because that team is still very deep, especially if Jaren comes back. So I think I'd rate them a little bit higher than that. Lower than that. Sorry. Kind of. In what way? You know. At 23, they have the Golden State Warriors, which the previous power rankings, they ranked them at 18, so they fell from 18 to 23. And, that's very sad, Warriors fans. Right now, the Warriors are 2-2, not too shabby, at least in my opinion. They did, let's see here, they beat the Bulls and the Detroit Pistons, so two pretty average foes, in my opinion. They did also lose to the Bucks and the Nets, who are obviously like head and shoulders like title contending teams right now. So I think I say like mid-20s is like a good spot for them. It's just that when Steph is not on the court, they look terrible. They still have Draymond, and they only get really good flashes of James Wiseman's every once in a while. So, and Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins are struggling very badly. So, definitely not a bad spot for them, at least in my opinion. Could they be higher? Yeah, they could be. Yeah, like I said, mid-20s I think would be a good spot for them. But yeah, let's see who's ahead of them. You have the winless Washington Wizards ahead of the Golden State Warriors, who are 2-2. That's very interesting. That I do not believe at all. I think they should be ranked lower. I really liked Washington going into the season, and if you guys saw from my preview of the season video, I actually put them in as a 8 seed for the playoffs because I thought Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, a great backcourt. They have good, rotational pieces like Troy Brown Jr. and Thomas Bryant, Denny. Like, the team isn't terribly bad and put together. They have a good coach, but the team is 0-5, and it's not like they've lost to like great teams. They've been losing to like the Magic and other teams like that. So it's so weird because if you look at the stats of Westbrook and Bradley Beal, like, they're fine. They're good stats actually, but wins, and it's really tough seeing that. So unless they get their act together like soon, like that team is going to be out of the playoffs race very quickly. So I would actually rank the Warriors, I think, ahead of them, because I think actually the Warriors have overachieved when it comes to that. And when it comes to the Washington Wizards, man, just totally just underachieving this entire first sort of week of NBA basketball. At 21, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves, which, again, a team I think mid-tier is pretty good for them. I think they are definitely overachieving. Again, like I said before, let's see where they are in the rankings. They're actually 6th in the rankings, 2-2, which they're tied with 1, 2, 3, 4 other teams, including the Golden State Warriors. But I feel like obviously Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell are a little bit more of a powerhouse than Curry and James Wiseman, a rookie. So their team is looking pretty good. And I said this before, and I'll say this again: if that team can get it together, they can definitely be, an 8th, maybe. I don't want to say 7th, but definitely an 8th, 9th, 10th seeded team that can do a play-in game against a opponent in the Western Conference for that play-in spot for the playoffs. So definitely watch out for this team. This team can really start clicking together. I think this team can actually make a very nice push into the playoff sort of picture. At 20, we have the Houston Rockets. No, definitely not. No. I think James Harden is really playing his hardest right now, and that team right now is 1-2, barely 1-2. And maybe once that team gets John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins back from their sort of protocols, and maybe they'll look better. But as of right now, with just James Harden, I think John Wall just played his first game. I think it was tonight or last night. I do not really believe that 20th. Actually, you know what? I'll say yeah. I think anything above this is a bit too much. I do love James Harden. I think he's a great player, but man, let's see how long that lasts of him wanting to be and staying on that team, trying his hardest and everything like that, because we all know, man, that guy wants out. So I guess we'll sort of have to see, how long that takes. At 19, we have the San Antonio Spurs, who have jumped from 25th to 19. That's a big jump. Do I think that's good for them? They are 2-2, which again are tied with a lot of other teams, so definitely not bad. Do I think they should be above like Houston and other teams like that? I think yes. I think they are a team, again, a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seeded team that can play really good for a good playoff run at the end of the year. They definitely have good veteran leadership, an amazing head coach, and good top-heavy pieces like DeMar and LaMarcus Aldridge, DeJounte, Derek White. Like, they have good top-heavy pieces that could, again, win a game or two in the playoffs, maybe a series, maybe against the right team. So definitely not a bad team. So I think I would actually rate them above Houston as of right now. We'll have to wait and see how well they play together with Boogie and John Wall and that whole entire Houston Rockets team. But as of right now, it's not a bad spot for them. At 18, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. Last week they were 20. Well, before this season they were ranked 22nd. I think this is good. Again, a very mid-tier team, looking very good. Zion looking very fresh, looking very like a whole new player basically. And then Brandon Ingram is looking absolutely amazing as well. So those guys are really starting to push themselves away as the sort of dynamic duo stars for the future of that team, which is obviously what we all sort of assumed. Now without Lonzo Ball getting that sort of rookie extension that a lot of other players got this offseason with Jonathan Isaac, OG Anunoby, Markelle Fultz, like all those players got player extensions. Same thing with De'Aaron Fox as well. Lonzo didn't get one, so it's either they are A, waiting to see what Lonzo Ball can do this season if they want to even re-sign him, B, letting Lonzo Ball walk for nothing, or C, waiting to come to an agreement on a contract to see how much Lonzo Ball is worth for. So there's, 3 different options I think they're going for. It can very well be option B, where they just do not believe Lonzo can be the starting point guard for that team. And if that's the case, that's really sad. But hey, Charlotte will open their big long arms to Lonzo Ball, and having the Ball brothers in Charlotte, I think that'd be amazing for them if they could get that done. At 17, we have the Toronto Raptors. No. I love the Toronto Raptors. They are a great over the years they've lost a lot of new guys and a lot of guys, sorry, and maybe they're still sort of like having like learning pains and trying to figure out how to play together. So if that's the case, I sort of understand it, but let's hope and pray it's not something anything long term, or this is how the Raptors are going to be playing from now on. So definitely need to watch out for that. They're ranked 17th right now. Who's ranked above them? Oh, the Portland Trail Blazers are ranked 11th before this season, so that's a 5 spot jump downwards, not in the direction you want to go in. So, if I can be honest, man, I might even push them down lower. Like, dude, Portland, they've been winning games. They did beat the defending champs in LA. They also beat the Houston Rockets, which was a game they should have won easily, but they didn't. But bro, being a Portland fan and watching them play, it looks like it's so hard for them. It looks like it's a playoff game every single game until they start blowing past these opponents, which, at least in my opinion, I feel like they should be easily beating, like the Rockets, which went into overtime. And then I think tonight or tomorrow they played the Golden State Warriors, which, no offense to any Warriors fans, the Blazers should be able to beat that team. And if they don't, bro, the Blazers are just done for. At least early on in the season, they need to get it together. And if they don't, they're just gonna be that mid-tier team like they are every single year. And they cannot be that with this talented group of players. And it just doesn't really make any sense. And also Damian is just struggling so bad. He's averaging maybe 20 points per game. As of right now, he has many quarters of going scoreless, and it's just very tough to see. I mean, right now, CJ McCollum has been our best player on the team, hands down, and that's saying something. 15th right now is the Orlando Magic, and I absolutely chef kiss off to the Orlando Magic, man. Those guys have been playing their booties off. Right now, they are ranked second. Well, they're tied for first in the Eastern Conference with Philadelphia and Indiana Pacers. Orlando's looking great. When you look at their team and you say, oh, well, this is just if you see the names of the teams, you're like, oh, well, these guys are just all okay players. But the thing is, everyone on that team is an okay player. They don't have any bad players. Even in their starting lineup, there's no bad players, and they're all doing this without Jonathan Isaac, arguably their best and most talented sort of young prospect. They don't even have him on the court yet. So without that sort of defensive presence that we all know that Jonathan Isaac can be, they look like a really good team. And I counted them out of the playoffs, and obviously seeing the Wizards right now, I definitely made a mistake, and I definitely need to put the Magic back into that sort of playoff position, because everyone on that team can play and score and are very good. And maybe this is just oh my god, well, the Magic are always good at the start of every NBA season, let's see how it goes. But I think they're starting to look pretty decent in my opinion. Then we have the Sacramento Kings at 14th. Wow, I would definitely rank the Magic over them. Maybe Portland ahead of them. Man, maybe even the Spurs ahead of them. I don't really know why the Kings are ranked so high, but they jumped from 20th to 14th, a 6-position jump. That is crazy. I mean, I do know the Kings did beat Denver, and that's a really good win actually, but do I think they're in sort of an elite company just because they're 3-2 right now in the NBA? I don't really think so. I mean, they did lose to Houston, so can you really I'm not entirely sure. So I think they're doing okay. They're doing better than I thought they were going to be doing. That team is definitely well enough to be, again, a 9th, 10th seeded team playing in for the playoff spot, but that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration, at least in my opinion. So I think I don't really agree with this one, but I do love, y'all know I do like the Sacramento Kings for sure. 13th, we have the Atlanta Hawks. Again, I really do believe the Hawks are a team that can definitely be either a 6th or 5th seed, or maybe barely getting inside the playoff position. It all really depends on how that team obviously knock on wood for that. I'm not wishing that on him, but bro, if KP can't stay healthy, bro, you gotta get rid of him while he still has some trade value. And if you can just pair up Luka with a great, it doesn't have to be an all-star potential type player like KP. If it's just really good pieces around Luka, that might be a better option than having, crossing your fingers every single night that hopefully KP can stick around. So that team's looking really rough. I still think that team can still make a good run when KP comes back, but until then, I guess we won't know. At 11, we have the Phoenix Suns. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Right now, Phoenix is second in they're actually tied for first in the Western Conference, 4-1. Let's see if they've gone up against. They've beaten the Pelicans. They've beaten Utah. That's definitely not bad at all, at least in my opinion. They beat Dallas as well. So, I will say this. They've probably had one of the easiest sort of starts to the NBA season I've seen. They've played Dallas without KP, the Kings twice, the Pelicans, and the Utah Jazz. They did beat the best teams, obviously, out of those ones, and they only lost to the Kings one time, but I'm going to be very interested to see once they start facing, no offense to any of those teams, but some competition, like some high-end title contenders, like teams have faced off already in the NBA, like Dallas with the Lakers, Blazers with the Clippers. Like once they start playing some like high-end teams, let's see if when push comes to shove, are they actually tied for first in the Western Conference, or is it just sort of they've played good games against okay teams? I guess we'll have to see that. But 11th, I feel like that's kind of high. At 10th, we have Indiana, and I will say I've been very wrong about Indiana. I thought they were going to be one of those teams that just barely make the playoffs, another mid-tier team, so I guess they're going to be fine. I know TJ Warren, I think, actually just got hurt, which again, bro, this sucks so much. Like, this season is just crazy. So that is pretty bad, but I still think they'll be a decent team. I think obviously they'll be worse without TJ, obviously, but I don't think the hope's over for them. I think he's gonna be back, maybe. I only like skimmed through it on Twitter really fast, so I'm not even entirely sure like wow, like crazy the injury is, but if he can come back, that team will be fine. If he can't, that team has always been sort of like a known well team without being able to play with their best players, so I think they'll still be fine. Then at number 9 we have we have the Denver Nuggets. They were 4th at the beginning of the season. They are 9th now, which, like we've been talking about, Denver is a team that is 13th right now, tied for last place in the Western Conference. So, obviously you can be like over-exaggerating, like, oh my god, they're tied for last, put them all the way down to like the low 20s or something like that. No, they've just been having a pretty rough start to their season, and oh my god, though, but like they've been playing some like they lost to the Kings, again, they lost to the Clippers, which that game they looked pretty lost. They almost lost by 20 points, so it's looking pretty rough for them. But their next upcoming games are against teams that they should definitely be beating, so they should definitely start racking up these wins. But if they don't, that'd be crazy if the Nuggets were like a low-seeded playoff team or something like that, because everyone was seeing them as like they're the next great Western Conference title contending team. Like they were up next, and it's looking like that may not be the situation this year. But again, very early on predictions, I guess. At number 8, we have the Utah Jazz, which again, in my opinion, yeah, I think they're definitely a top 10 team. Their defense is just literally out of this world. Like their defense is amazing with Rudy and the perimeter play of Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley and Bogdan Bogdanovic. I'm sorry, Bojan Bogdanovic, sorry. That team's nice. That team's actually pretty good on defense, and then you have Jordan Clarkson off the bench who can score like 25 points in a game if he wants to. That team's nice, and that team's definitely very dangerous, so I think definitely top 10 for them is it's fair to say. Then you have the Milwaukee Bucks at 7th. They were 3rd at the beginning of the year. Now they're 7th. Wow. In my last video, spoiler alert, and the biggest disappointments of the start of the NBA season, I talked about the Bucks and the play of Giannis just not being right this year, and that could be because it's a new team, a new system. They did lose a lot of key players last season, like Bledsoe and Matthews. So having to add in a new player in like adjusted. I feel like it will take probably a couple weeks, maybe even a month or two, to sort of see where that team can go and how good that team actually is. So give that team some time, but I think kicking them out of the top 5, I think may be fair. Let's see who's ranked above them. The Boston Celtics. Ooh. I think right now, I would not rank them above them because Boston doesn't even have Kemba Walker yet. And, well, actually, you can look at it both ways. Boston doesn't have Kemba Walker, so they're not that good, but Boston doesn't have Kemba Walker, and they've beaten the Milwaukee Bucks, and they look pretty good even without Kemba. So you could look at it, both ways. I'll look at it the more positive way. I think once they do get Kemba Walker back, they will even look better. So I think they should be ranked above the Bucks as of right now. As of right now, good spot for them, at least in my opinion. The Celtics are looking really good this year. Wow, and now in the top 5, we have the Philadelphia 76ers at 5. Wow. If you didn't know, Philly is at the top of the Eastern Conference, well, tied for the top of the Eastern Conference right now at 4-1. They've been looking good. Ben Simmons at a 3 today, yesterday for you guys, and, that team is playing very well with, Doc Rivers and the new sort of 3-point scoring shooters they've gotten with Danny Green and Seth Curry. Like, bro, if they can keep this up, hey, man, the Sixers might be the team coming out of the East this year. I don't know, let's knock on wood for them because that team needs all the luck they can get. But, wow, I think top 5 for them might be a bit too much, but definitely a top 3 team in the East. I think it's very, 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 very reasonable. Then at number 4, we have the Miami Heat. Wow. The Miami Heat at number 4. Right now, the Miami Heat are 2-2. You're giving a team who's 2-2 right now the 4th spot in the power rankings. I do not know about that. I do know that they had to face the Bucks twice, which is terrible. That's very tough. You had to face the Bucks 2 times back to back. They did a loss and then a win, so that's definitely not bad. They did also beat the Pelicans, who are a good, decent Western Conference team, but bro, y'all lost to the Magic on opening night. That's a team you guys should be able to put away pretty easily. So the fact that they did lose against them, pretty bad. They do have the Dallas Mavericks coming up next, again without KP. They should be able to win that game pretty easily. They have OKC, should be able to win. They have some teams coming up that they should be able to beat, pretty easily, handedly. Do I think they're 4th in the entire league? I think no, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Number 3, you have the Brooklyn Nets, which, again, if you guys didn't know, lost Spencer Dinwiddie. So sad. I think they're still a great team, a deep team. Karis LeVert's still going to be able to carry that sort of load that Spencer Dinwiddie would have, so that team's going to be fine. Are they going to be as good? Definitely not, but I think Dinwiddie's out for at least the entire regular season. Maybe if the Nets have a long playoff run, maybe he could come back if he wanted to, but that's very sad. But a top 3 team in the NBA still, I think yes. At number 2, you have the Los Angeles Clippers, and bro, honestly, you could argue them being number 1. The Clippers are looking very, very good this year, at least in my opinion. Right now, they are again tied for 1st in the West. They've beaten the Lakers. They've creamed the Portland Trailblazers pretty convincingly. Let's see. They also beat the Denver Nuggets. They're beating higher end talented teams. They did lose to Dallas, which was pretty bad. But they're beating higher end teams. So, man, in my opinion, bro, I think I might have the Clippers at number 1 in the entire NBA. They are just looking really good. Obviously, Kawhi and Paul George are still one of the best duos in the NBA. And to add the additions of Serge and keeping around players like Reggie Jackson and Lou Williams and Morris, and then also bringing in Luke Kennard, a great shooter like that. So, bro, that team, I think if I'm putting my list out there, I think the Clippers are actually number 1 power rankings on my own list. But in Bleacher Report, the number 1 team is still, or I guess are still, the LA Lakers, which the LA Lakers right now are 3-2. Let's see who they played. They lost against the Clippers. They lost against Portland, but they did beat the Spurs, Minnesota, and Dallas. So you can argue the Spurs being a sort of self-respect that they had into, going into last season, being the title favorites. This is our LA now, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 championship team, and then they lose in the second round. So, getting blown out by 3-1. So, I think right now I'd rank the LA Clippers number 1, Lakers number 2. I still think the Lakers are still a great team. I just don't think they really are worried about the regular season as much as a lot of other teams. So, yeah, I think I would have them at 2, and then the Clippers at number 1. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are now on the road to 10K. I think that's so cool to say that. I love that. That's 5,000 subscribers. That's totally crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again in my next video very, very, very